I've got balls of steel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Balls of Steel podcast. I am Onyx.
And I am Rumble.
And we both have balls of steel.
Balls of steel.
So, first off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. How young are you going to be now?
Honestly, I don't know because I've lost track like ages ago.
That's okay. We'll just call you 21. So, like you surprisingly did for me on my birthday, where you interviewed me to do what was called Behind the Machine or whatever you titled it. We're going to do Behind the RUMBLEMANIAC. So time for you to break your little character here, and of course you don't have to use your real name or anything, but why don't you give a nice little introduction to yourself, Rumble?
Well, I am MrRumbleRoses. I've gone by that name quite a bit now because it's been like the name that kind of stuck with me. A lot of people call me Rumble for short because I'm short and sweet like and everything. And I'm a streamer on Twitch, let's player on YouTube more or less. And I play various games mostly these days from console to PlayStation 4, and I'm known to be kind of like a retro lover type of guy. I like to play classic stuff, maybe from like old school or stuff that's coming out from future-wise, but still have that old school feel, and just go from there, more or less.
So there's another name that usually I call you, which is OnyxTheGamingMachine.
Yes.
Do you know why? Do you want to let the people know why I call you OnyxTheGamingMachine?
Well, I would assume it's because, because of my love for like Duke Nukem and the game RumbleRoses.
Well, you play more Duke Nukem stuff than RumbleRoses. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like but that's more or less like where it kind of like originated from, really. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's set the clock back to when you were a mini tater tot. And what do you remember as the first game you ever played, OnyxTheGamingMachine?
Honestly, like it's somewhat of a blur, but like I just remember a long time ago that my brother used to have like I want to say like different consoles and stuff like that. They'll ask me what they were because but like I just remember like playing a few games here and there, and I want to say some of them might have been like Sega related, but like the one thing that I remember the most though was the N64, or as or the long term name, the Nintendo 64.
Correct. And
Um,
but yeah, in terms of like the first games you remember playing, what were they?
First games I remember playing off the top of my head was Duke Nukem 3D. Now, people might not know this, but if you are nostalgic and all that stuff, Duke Nukem 3D was known to have 3 episodes at the time before they did what was called the Atomic Edition, which had a fourth, similarly to what Classic Doom had before it had become Ultimate Doom and had a fourth episode as well. My real dad, he used to play the bejesus out of that game, and he used to own the the actual physical discs, PC stuff for Duke 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to play that a lot, and that was like the one game that really got me addicted, probably more so than anything else back then.
Rumble, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Like no offense, like Pepsi's alright, but if I had to choose between one, I'd say Coke for sure. Like I drink more Coke probably than Pepsi, which again, there's nothing wrong with either or, but Coke is my main thing.
Chicken, beef, or pork?
See what is it? So okay, so I like me some chicken. I like me good chicken. Hopefully he's having a giggle, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, so Yeah, so I'd say like it depends, but like you know, I like me some good chicken here and there. Beef, you know, depending on the circumstances, you know, kind of same with pork. So I guess I kind of say like you know, depending on what it's used for and how it's done, you know, is what will be my favorite.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. What's your preferred drink of choice aside from Coke?
Well, often at times I drink tea because it's kind of like my little thing at this point. Like my folks like to sometimes drink coffee, and everything like that. I like to have me like a nice sweet tea kind of thing. You know, not with like any sort of like knockoff sugar shit. You know, like actual sugar and all that. But yeah, I often have me a lot of tea, especially like whenever I'm you know like streaming and all that. Like most of the time, I'll have me like a thing of tea with that you know to hydrate with.
Yeah, sometimes we switch between Lipton and breakfast tea.
Well, I mean, it's mostly Lipton, but yeah, like my main thing would be always be tea, but like second thing would probably be Coke, and then sometimes on rare occasions I might have like a little thing of chocolate milk.
Yeah. So, Rumble, what inspired you 17 years ago to be on YouTube?
Uh, I guess it was more or less be able to you know to like do interactions and things like that because it's like oh you know you can't be able to you know like leave a comment or do this that and the other without you know like without an account and I guess like it started from that. And then I guess slowly but surely, you know, I was kind of like getting into gaming and trying to like, you know, figure out, you know, like what I could do and what I can't do, and then so and it kind of became a little bit of a gaming channel and stuff like that. And so that's pretty much, yeah.
And yeah, everyone, Rumble did not start using a microphone. When I first met Rumble, he was doing a Duke Nukem related video,
Hmm.
and he was showing how to get through the first episode, and
Yeah.
which amazing freaking first intro to Duke Nukem. Like, I love it. Plus,
Yeah.
the music's amazing too.
Oh
And
yeah.
I ran into this guy, and my comment that I said to him was, "How do you know how to get through this level so good?" And I'm going to pivot that comment to you now at the age you are. How do you know how to get through certain levels as fast and detailed as you do?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I guess you say, like, you know, those situations growing up, and it's like I played it quite a bit, and every time I had the opportunity, I would play the game, and slowly but surely I would like you know learn things here and there, and then like you know certain like little techniques and stuff. I will admit like I have seen like some videos here and there, but just overall you know just playing the bejesus out of it and everything, and you know just having that dedication for that particular game.
Is there a certain level of Duke Nukem that you fancy the most?
Well, I don't know, but I guess this may sound cheap, but I've always kind of found Hollywood Holocaust interesting, and I'll try to explain why.
Hmm.
So, um, I so growing up, like I had the Nintendo 64 version, which is also known as Duke Nukem 64.
Hmm.
Um, and while the game had like some changes here and there, like it still had that you know that nice little similarity where it's like oh it didn't like stray too far away from being you know something different, but like it had like interesting little touches here and there, especially like for some levels, like for example, there was the whole situation with Red Light District, which I think is called Gone Crazy in the 64 port.
Hmm. Correct.
And in the 64 port, they had a little nod to uh, Duke Burger, which is basically like the franchise, you know, restaurant of Duke Nukem in the world of Duke and all right?
Correct.
And I remember, like, in the 3D version, they had basically it was like a bar area in one place and a strip club thing, in another. And then you play 64 version, and it's like, oh, and like the bar area is now like a restaurant, that little like restaurant kitchen area thing, and also has like a door that leads into like a little mini Duke Burger, and the strip club area thing was converted into like a I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's kind of like, what those like those like back area places where it's like, you have like the trailer and have all the stuff like, from like the package thing shipped in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what what got turned into, and I thought that was an interesting little take.
So, um, back in the day, you became somewhat famous in the Duke Nukem community.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you want to explain to people why that was the case?
Well, um, forgive me because it's been a hot minute, because I want to say like I think I know what you're talking about, but like I may make different. But I remember a long time ago, when they had a port called Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, so okay, so anyway, so yeah, back when back when that port became a thing, it did not have multiplayer. Like, it was only like a single player thing, which it was kind of a bummer at first, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of like a slow, steady process. Um, well, a certain friend or two of mine had gotten contacted by someone who was, I guess, I don't know if I want to say like fully in charge of the port or something like that, but just know like just like someone within the higher ups. We'll call it the higher ups just for the hell of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They pretty much came to one of my friends and was like, hey, we want to be able to add multiplayer into the thing, and we need some some testing and all that. So me and a couple of friends of mine, like we would get a little bit of a special beta way to play the multiplayer, and we would slowly but surely test out all the levels, multiplayer, like from the main levels themselves, from like the main Duke 3D game, to the expansions, as well as the special little levels that had that are made for like deathmatch only and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Yeah, we tested the bejesus out of it and make sure everything was as good as possible, and we managed to get our names engraved into the port. Now, for me, and for the most part, I used a little bit of an alias, but I had
Mm-hmm.
my main username that I am known for to this day, and I used to kind of have an alias of the name John Rumble. Um,
I remember that.
yeah, yeah, and I used to do that, but yeah, I put it as like, hey, one of the people was like, hey, what do you want to be referred to as? And I was just like, I'll put that because it's like I know it'll be me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and that was pretty much like the first time ever that I actually had a hand in doing something that was for like a official report at the time.
What are your top 5 favorite retro first-person shooters? It
Top
doesn't
five.
have to be in a particular order of least to best, just top
Yeah, I
5.
get you. So I've talked about this a lot, but Doom 64 is definitely up there because as I mentioned, Doom 64 was the very first Doom game that I ever played in the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Nukem 3D, definitely the next one. Um, let's see. I've been kind of intrigued with Wolfenstein 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and funny enough, I actually remember the first time I ever played Wolfenstein 3D was out of a full conversion mod for Doom 2, which I thought was pretty
Correct.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Uh, I guess another one would probably be Quake because, like Wolfenstein, Quake was kind of like the early games that kind of innovated, the formula of what like some games nowadays have. And the fifth one would probably be Blood.
You're on number 4, actually.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
I thought. Let's see. Okay, so Doom 64, Duke 3D,
Hmm.
Wolfenstein 3D, um, Quake and Blood. I thought that was five.
Okay, it is. Yeah, I kind
It's
of
just,
got the two Dukes mixed up because I'm surprised you didn't bring up Doom 64.
I did bring up Doom 64. Like that was the first one.
Oh, okay. It sounded like Duke 64. That was my bad.
It's
Sometimes the
fine.
way that you say words very sound the same.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
But yeah, continue. You were going to bring up Blood, which I love Blood as well.
Yeah, Blood. Blood is kind of like Blood was an interesting one to me because I remember like a long while back. Because if people don't know me that well, I'm a sucker for playing mods. Like I play like I
Hmm.
just feel like the bejesus out of a lot of mods, especially for Doom. But yeah, like I remember playing Blood a long time ago and everything, and I thought it was crazy, but it was cool at the same time. And it's also the same engine that powered the likes of Duke 3D,
Hmm.
even another game called Shadow Warrior.
Yeah, but we'll probably get into that soon later on.
Yeah.
But you were talking about Blood though.
Yeah, blood. Yeah, yeah. Basically, like, yeah, blood was definitely like another one. Like, it came later in like it came like later on down the road because I didn't really know how to like. I didn't really have like a way to get it, like personally or whatever. But yeah, like, but blood is definitely like it's like the interesting game out of like the classic shooters and whatnot.
And to prove to everyone how much of a fan of Blood you are, what is the first line that Caleb says when he starts the game in the first episode?
I live again.
All right, I got one for you. So, what is your favorite Doom wad?
Favorite Doom mod? Are we talking about like actual official game Doom mods or?
Surprise me, Rumble.
Favorite Doom mods? Well, uh, I guess if we're going by official like Doom stuff, like I do kind of like Doom 2 a little bit, but like the final boss, I have always kind of hated playing vanilla style.
Mhm.
Um, but in terms of mods, stuff like that, if we're going down that route.
Yeah, we're going
That's
down the
on.
wad route. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we're going down that route, like I don't know, I'm trying to think. It's like because Doom 2 introduced what's known as the Super Shotgun or the SSG, right?
Hmm.
Like I really like that. I really like that gun. I think a lot of people do too. Second one would probably be like Doom 1 itself, and everything, because sometimes people call it like like Doom or Ultimate Doom, whatever. That's definitely another one. Uh, and I guess maybe Final Dooms with Tony Experiment might be someone of a third because it was like is I guess you say it's kind of like a official birth to the slaughter map style of games.
What's your favorite Duke mod?
Duke mod. Let's see. There's quite a lot. So I'm not gonna count these as like I'm gonna do some honorable mentions if you don't mind.
Of course, this is your day, man. You do
So
you.
um for honorable mentions, I would say that I like the ability to play not only Duke 64 but total meltdown on something much better than the original hardware.
Mm.
Because, and I think you can probably agree, you know, like some of the controls and everything.
Yeah, don't.
Oh man, like
Yeah,
they
some
were,
of those are absolute trash.
yeah, those were my favorite thing. But in terms of like new content, I would have to probably say, um, God, I'm trying to think off the top of my head because one thing that kind of comes to my mind is a mod called Alien Armageddon because
Hmm.
that is huge and it's fucking amazing.
Tell me why it's amazing to you.
So, for one, it has the ability to play as other characters besides Duke. So, are you familiar with the name Bombshell?
Yes.
Well, in this mod, she's actually someone you can play as.
Can you tell the people
Um,
at home who Bombshell is?
uh, Shelley Bombshell Harris was a female protagonist that was sort of made around like about like 3D realms. You don't have to do whatever. She's supposed to be like a female antagonist for the world of Duke or something like that, but didn't really get used until later on down the road. It became her own little like thing, if you will. She became like a I want to say like a cop from the future or something like that.
Hmm.
But but yeah, like I like that because you know there's different characters you can play. Um, there's some moments where everything feels a bit more lively because from what I've seen and experienced, sometimes there are like random little NPC characters that are just like you know just roaming around willy nilly like. And like some of like the bosses are interestingly challenging in some cases, and I love some of the weapons that you can play around with too.
What is your Mount Rushmore of FPS characters?
Mount Rushmore. Duke would have to be one because, like I said, I grew up with the Duke.
Hmm.
Doom Guy would be the second. Kayla from Blood would be the third.
Hmm.
Ranger would be the fourth. Um, and I reckon Lo Wang from Shadow Warrior would be probably like the fifth or whatever.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me your thoughts on the franchise series Sam.
Serious Sam. That's a bit of an interesting little thing because I didn't really know too much about it back then, but looking at it in my perceptive, it was kind of like a different, like a somewhat different take on like Duke Nukem, but he had like it's kind of like a Duke Nukem game, but you had to fight a lot of waves.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I mean, I haven't played like. Now, keep in mind, folks, I haven't played like every single serious Sam game of like one to whatever, but like I played my fair share. Like I played a decent amount, and that's to me what I think it is. It's like that's not against it, but it made me just think of like it's like a Duke Nukem type character, but like you're facing like waves of enemies.
Tell me your thoughts on Postal.
Postal. So I didn't really know a whole lot about Postal until I saw a YouTuber named CB11. Big shout out to him.
Hmm.
Do like a lot of videos where they like to call Pro Postal. Um, when it came to the Postal dude, like it was very like it felt like a yin and yang kind of situation where it's like the first game was like very like dark and sinister like, and then all of a sudden you get Postal 2, which kind of leads more to like some slight comedy question mark.
Hmm.
And everything like that. And you just have like some like you can do like random little shit, but um yeah, I say like I want to say in a sense like Postal's been like a bit of like a roller coaster where it's like you know it goes one way, it goes another, and then you know vice versa. Which you know I thought was interesting. Like I haven't played like every single one, but I think the one I haven't really played much of was three. But I played Postal Redux, Brain Damage, and Postal 4 at most.
What is the lore of Postal?
I have to really think on that honestly, because I think I want to say like the lore of Postal is you play as a guy who's normally as Postal Dude, and you pretty much are just I want to say like you're pretty much just a guy, you know, who just originally started off like, you know, getting like a gallon of, like a thing of milk for his beloved wife, quote unquote.
Yep.
And then it's like you just get let loose. You can do random shit here and there, and he just loves smoking like pops and shit.
Mm. Tell me your thoughts on Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior. Nah, I can't really say much about the new version, but like I know for damn sure that they went like a completely like different direction when it comes to new gen Shadow Warrior. But old school Shadow Warrior it was definitely one of those games where it's like you really had to know how enemies work because sometimes they can really kick your ass, and sometimes they even have like certain other little abilities stuff that you know you won't expect all the time, but. It was one of those like it was like a kung fu type movie, but it had weaponry for the most part. And not just with like a sword, but you had like an Uzi, you had like a riot or called like a riot shotgun, which is like a in my opinion like a fucking machine gun, but it shoots like shotgun shells and things like that. But um yeah, like it was definitely quite an interesting game, and I had my fun with it, and I would like to be able to see like them make a re-release on like modern consoles and stuff like that, but it's definitely one where you have to, I say, be careful of what difficulty you go for because you're probably going to end up dying on higher skills.
Tell me your thoughts on Rise of the Triad.
Rise of the Triad, also known as Rock.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, Rise of the Triad, from what I had heard, was originally supposed to be like a sequel to Wolfenstein 3D, but they didn't really have the rights and stuff to. So they went in a completely different direction. And apparently, one of the main things that they were able to do was something that was originally going to be for Classic Doom at the time, which was having characters with different unique abilities and stuff like that, kind of like a skill set, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, like one character would have like you know like high health, decent things like certain weapons, things like that. Because apparently they took the inspiration from the old Doom Bible that was supposed to be a thing, and made it into and made it put in the Rise of the Triad. But I would say Rise of the Triad is like a way more advanced version of Wolf 3D, but still being in certain limitations in a way. Like where it's like you can't build like you know do like modern shit that you can do now.
Tell me your thoughts on Wolfenstein 3D and Spear of Destiny.
Okay, so Wolf 3D, in my opinion, the episodes are a little bit mindfuckery for me because apparently episodes 4 through 6 are prequels to what leads up to episodes 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Um, and I never understood like as to why they did that. It's like okay, you know, it's like you want. I was like, I thought it would rather make sense if like you know, if you go from like the 4 through 6 and 1 through 3, you know, kind of like, you know flip them on their head or whatever. Um, but it's kind of it was like the lack of weaponry that you can go and get. You do have a little bit of a satisfactory feel for killing, for killing, for baddies and all that. Now, Spear of Destiny, I haven't really played it as much as Wolf 3D, so so there might be some things that are a little bit bare bones. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you can be able to fight a fucking demon around like the final level or part or whatever, I I had like questions, but I was like, whoa, if that makes any sense.
Tell me your thoughts on Doom.
So
All of Doom as well. Like,
okay,
dig
yeah.
deep, dog. Dig deep in that soul of yours.
I will do my best. So when it comes to classic Doom, right? Because I'll pick a step from there. So classic Doom, in my eyes, it was a bit of an interesting take because like you're like you're a solo survivor, marine dude who had no real name other than being called like Doom Guy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're pretty much going around like like tech bases. And you're literally going back to through hellish landscapes and stuff like that, killing demons along the way, and all the while, like you don't know until like later in the episode, but apparently the dude has a bit of a soft spot because apparently he had a pet rabbit called Daisy,
Mm-hmm.
and that apparently kind of set him up to be the murderous slayer that we know him as today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to like the other versions of Doom, like I want to say like they have like their own AU, aka alternate universes, at least in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try and explain the best why. So, Doom 64, like Doom 64, it felt like that had like its own little story and had like certain things that um had like it had like its own little story, but it had like a completely different feel for what the original Doom game had, in my opinion. And I kind of want to say, and some people may agree with this, some people may not, but I want to say that I think Doom 64 is what led up to Doom, aka Doom 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Now, excuse me. Now, when it comes to the new Doom games, like 2016, in my opinion, I having some fun with it. Like, yes, I had some moments where
Oh,
it's
it's
like,
lovely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I remember having some, like, I had like certain moments where it's like, oh, like, where the fuck do I go? What the fuck do I do? Yeah, but I had me some fun with it, especially because I was known to play a lot of Doom 2016 like mods for classic Doom that kind of prepared me for the actual thing itself, right? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a bit of a knowledge about certain things about like how certain weapons work, but I would say like it perfected itself. It became like so much fucking cooler and everything. From like the stuff you can go do, the abilities, things like that. Especially being able to upgrade weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I haven't played Eternal yet, but I have seen you do it, so I can kind of maybe piggyback off of you a little bit.
Of course.
So from what I've seen of Eternal, from what I've watched Onyx play it, like I want to say that it's definitely going to be like a slight bit of Final Doom mixed with the modern era, and I want to try to explain why. So,
Of course.
um, in my opinion, Eternal definitely is much harder. Like it definitely has like it's definitely going to kick your ass, probably no matter what difficulty you go for. And I want to say like I want to say like it's the final doom of the new era because of how monsters are pretty tanky. Some attacks, some stuff has been kind of altered a little bit. You where you're like, oh, you can't do like one certain move to get them into this little state, whatever. And that's my 2 cents
Mm-hmm.
on that. And I can't really say much of Eternal about all the like there's a few videos and stuff like that, but I kind of want to say that was like their random ass take of trying to bring Doom and Quake to do like a fusion hot ads from Dragon Ball.
That's an interesting take.
hmm Now, now I would love to play Doom, the Dark Ages in some sort of way, but like I don't have the ability because it's not on PS4, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen stuff of it, and the weapons and stuff are pretty cool. Even though like I know some people are gonna be questioning, do the whole questionable thing, but like I kind of dig the shield saw, but I know that some people are like, oh well, Doom guy, Doom Slayer doesn't need a shield, he just has guns, all that. But I kind of like it, and that's my 2 cents on Dark Ages and all the Doom stuff in general leading up to it.
When it comes to Doom Dark Ages, the main thing that kind of turned me off about it is the fact that Doomslayer has to rely on the shield more than his guns, and that's like a complete 180
Yeah,
to me. Yeah.
I can kind of see that. I mean, like, yeah, like it's. I almost want to say, and this is probably just my 2 cents, but it's like I want to say it's like a soul-born thing put into Doom in a way.
Yeah.
That's
What
just
is
my 2 cents.
what is the most underrated first-person shooter game you've ever played?
Underrated.
Like people don't talk about it. Not many people probably play it. Should have more, knowledge for people to know about things like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because it's like, uh, I thought. In my mind, I want to randomly say Doom 64 because like some people have always said that like Doom 64 was like its own little universe, while it's like we had like Doom 3. But if I would say as far as like an underrated game goes,
Do you know what? Do you know what I would choose?
what's up?
Blood.
Okay, I can go over that. Like yeah, I'd say like that's definitely up there. Like it's definitely like it's up there like an underrated type of game because. Yeah, like it's very old and stuff like that and everything, but it's definitely one of the most like memorable games than the build engine trilogy. Well, I say build engine trilogy because of like because of how it was on the same engine as like classic Shadow Warrior and Dick Fady. Yeah, I'm gonna steal that from you.
What about overrated?
Overrated. Trying to think overrated because like I can't really think of like much of it other than the whole situation with do I want to say Fortnite is classified into that because there's part of me that wants to say that because I feel
No,
like
because that's third person.
well is
Now, in terms of like overrated shooter, sure, I can agree with Fortnite.
well unfortunately then I don't really have much of an answer for overrated in my opinion.
Gotcha. That's
I mean,
that's
because like
that's
I
very
haven't
fair.
really, I don't really know, because I haven't really had those moments where it's like, oh, like this is a first person shooter game that's overrated and all that. It's like, yeah.
What got you into wanting to play Sonic the Hedgehog?
I want to say that it might have somewhat been from my early childhood days, because I think like I used to play a few Sonic games back then, and I was like kind of curious into it and all that, but I didn't really process everything into my mind back then. But I was kind of like curious because as we all know, there's the whole Sega versus Nintendo, and like they had their own little like mascots and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
and because I kind of grew up more on Mario, at least like Mario and all that, I was really curious to see what it was like to play a Sonic game, especially like, classic games.
What's your favorite Mario game,
64.
and why is it 64?
Well, for one, it's kind of like Doom 64 was kind of like the first one that I remember playing a lot of, growing up, and I like being able to like like do like go into like random ass paintings that turn out to be worlds and things like that, and then just like doing being able to like do like the punch the bejesus out of someone, or do like a slide kick or whatever and stuff like that. Because it felt like to me, it was like the dawn of a slight open world ish type of Mario.
Okay, who is the better plumber, Mario or Luigi?
Oh gosh. Uh, I would say, well, some people are probably gonna hate me for this, but I'd say probably Mario. But I will say that Luigi's kind of underrated because it's like, player two, you're in the shadows, and all that. But I guess like in terms of like maybe like certain technical player standpoint, like like certain games, like say maybe Mario 2, for example. I say probably Mario would be the better plumber.
Mm, I'm gonna have to say Luigi,
I mean,
cause
nothing
one,
wrong with Luigi.
cause one, I know somebody that is addicted to Luigi, and she would probably hate it if I didn't say Luigi. Um, and secondly, Luigi had like a double jump in Super Mario Brothers 2, and I felt that he could jump higher in original Mario Brothers 1. I also kind of like the idea that Luigi's color scheme was flipped in the original Mario Brothers because he was white and green, and
Huh.
then they made him more green and blue in Mario Brothers 2.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I love the Luigi Mansion games. They're amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. If there was a random piece of information from any game you've played that you feel everyone should know, what would it be? Just something random.
Be careful of the difficulty that you choose because sometimes even the lowest sometimes could be the craziest.
Example?
Um, let's see. I guess you kind of, since you kind of talked about it, Serious Sam is kind of one that comes to my mind because um, in some cases it's like you think it's like, oh, you go a little difficulty and stuff like that, but you still get bombarded and all that stuff because um and all that. And you think it's like, oh, lower is easier, but sometimes like it's not always going to be the case and everything. And it's just like, I would probably say if I was to give like any random tip besides that, like I would say kind of like work your way from like the easier to the more maybe like the more harder type ones at times, so that we can go get a feel for like not only like the game, but also like how much things have changed in terms of like, oh, there's more enemies here, there's less items there, and things like that.
What are your thoughts on save stating?
So, save stating, in my opinion, I have no gripes about it. I mean, if you want save state, be my guest. I don't know why some people, not everybody, but some people like have like a major hate, like, oh, like your save's coming and all that. It's like, who the fuck cares? Like I just want to build. I'm just doing this, my way, and I want to build. Maybe do things, like this way or that way. Maybe get better. Maybe want to go like onto the route, stuff like that. So safe stating, knock yourself out. I have no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nothing against it.
What about New Game Plus unlock weapons?
New game plus unlock weapons. I almost want to say it could it could be interesting, but at the same time, it's like you have to really know what certain things are best for. I guess. I mean, I can't really give like much of an example off the top of my head, but it's like if you have but if you can be able to do like a thing where it's like, oh yeah, like like an OP weapon or something like that, it's like like I feel like it's kind of like your own little reward. Like if you beat something, you got something like quite like nice and powerful like, and that's kind of like like a way to be like, do what you want with this game.
Okay. Now, time to bring in a piece of your past that probably not many people know about. So,
No.
the thing was, around the time when we met each other, you did a bit of a shift in your content. You started doing wrestling reviews.
Yep, I did.
What is your old school Mount Rushmore of WWF, WWE wrestlers?
Okay, so for me, because I kind of got into wrestling. I want to say around '03 or slash 2003 to 2004. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be a little cliche, but I'd say probably I was all I was kind of a big fan of Bill Goldberg at the time.
Goldberg. Okay.
Let's see. Oh God, this actually a bit. I'd probably say Eddie Guerrero would be another one because I
Eddie
kind of like
Guerrero.
the craziness of what he does sometimes.
The lying, cheating, and stealing. Yep.
Whatever. Um, I'd say John Cena would probably be number three because he was like just like he should have be like the doctor of thugonomics.
So
Who would
heel Cena. Okay. Yeah, you were into heel Cena.
kind of yeah, like kind of heel Cena. Let's see, that was three.
Wouldn't one of
Even
them
though I
be
didn't
the
really like.
Undertaker?
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah,
Yeah, because I know you
Undertaker
love
definitely.
the Undertaker.
Yeah, and yeah, Undertaker definitely would be up there for sure. And because I remember like a long time ago, whenever I used to own like some past WWE games and all that, I would make basically like my female variants of like other like male wrestlers and all that stuff. I mean, I wouldn't make them all like like this that and the other, but I have like my own little take of them per se. But yeah, Undertaker would definitely be up there. And I'm trying to think. Shawn Michaels.
Ooh, why Shawn Michaels?
Uh, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like I guess like the whole situation of like he's always going to be like the dancing, the always dancing, and he would come at you out of nowhere with the sweet chin music and all that. And I don't know. I kind of like like he was like he'd be like the protagonist, be like, oh, like I still got some fight in me, you can't kill me just yet, kind of thing.
Who is your favorite female wrestler?
Favorite female? I kind of want to say Lita
Really? Why Lita?
because she was not because around the time like when I watched wrestling and all that, she was one of those uh female wrestlers and all that didn't mind trying to go up against the guys and all that.
Do you have a favorite champion?
Favorite champion? I thought Batista after he beat Triple H at WrestleMania was pretty good.
Okay.
The uh, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that comes to my mind. Um,
I think around that time, the women's championship started changing around too.
I I think so. Question mark. Like it's been there's certain things like I don't remember all the time about that, but uh, yeah, I guess I want to say Bianca Belair like had a nice decent run as the female women's champion or whatever, but yeah, that's basically all I can think of for right now, honestly.
Okay. Time to bring up a funny little controversial wrestling subject with you and me, and I think you know what's coming.
Well,
Rumble, why do you dislike Roman Reigns?
okay,
Why do you
okay,
dislike the tribal chief?
okay. So I disliked him at the time because he was a champion that played it off like, oh, I can go beat your ass any day, but yet every single match that I've seen, he always has some sort of interference.
Mm-hmm.
Do I mind him now? He's okay. Like I haven't really got to watch him much because of how fucking Monday Night Raw is on Netflix now, and I can't really watch it on like TV like I once was. So like that was my take on Roman at the time. It's like he was a champion who talked a big game, but always had a controversial win, in my opinion.
Mm. What were your thoughts on CM Punk returning to wrestling but going to AEW instead of WWE?
Okay, so AEW was something that I didn't really know about much at the time, but like I seen like bits and pieces here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess you could say I was curious because like I was wondering like why would he go there? But it was like maybe it was like the whole situation of like maybe like bridges were burned, things were not great between like him and WWE or whatever. So I thought it was an interesting take, but I guess like the way they kind of like closed off a little bit. eh.
Okay, okay. Um, Raw or SmackDown?
I probably have to say SmackDown.
Ah, why SmackDown?
Well, I guess for one, I could be able to watch that much more than I could with Raw, but I don't know, I guess like the whole situation, like maybe like how it came about, because and if people can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like The Rock that kind of came up with that. What's the word?
Yeah, layeth the smacketh down at the
Yeah,
SmackDown Hotel. Yep.
and it like became its own little like brand and everything.
What is your favorite wrestling video game? Well, WWE. We'll start it there first.
Let's see, favorite WWE game.
Because mine is SmackDown versus Raw 2006.
That's the one where ECW came into the fray, right?
That is 2008.
Mm.
But 2006 on the cover has John Cena and Batista on it.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that now. I don't really know because like it's kind of a hard thing to say because like I kind of like some of the stuff you could do from old school days where it's like you can somehow have like a female wrestler, because it's a male wrestler and all that, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, I can't really give an answer for that because I don't really know off the top of my head.
But now we will segue into the final topic of your favorite actual wrestling game, which is in your name.
Oh, Rumble Roses.
Tell me, we'll start off with this. What got you into Rumble Roses?
So, an old classmate of mine kind of was talking about it quite a bit, and I was really curious to see, like what it was about, because all I heard was like it was like a female wrestling thing, and I was really curious, and I was like, female wrestling, how they're going to do this, that, and the other. Um, and I think one random day, I might have rented it at Blockbuster at the time. And I kind of I was playing it for quite a bit. I started digging it, and I kind of liked it. And yes, I'm a guy. What else is new? There's female, women wrestlers, and all that. But it was kind of like one of those things where it was like it had like a interesting little take where it's like it seemed like it started off as like a small wrestling organization that sort of became bigger in a sense.
Who's your favorite Rumble Roses wrestler?
Well, if people have seen a lot of my profile pics, she's actually in the thing, but I would have to say Dixie Clements.
And why Dixie Clemens?
Well, I mean, because for one, for her attire and all that, especially for when she goes into Sergeant Clements, especially in the quote-unquote sequel, which is from Rose Double X.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess it's kind of like, the nationality of her and me, in a sense. Not fully, but just kind of.
Gotcha. Who is your top 5 favorite Rumble Roses wrestlers, though? Seeing how you got Clemens there, that's one.
Yeah, I'd say Candy Cane would definitely be number 2.
Yeah, Candy Cane's
AKA
my
the
favorite.
yeah the Canadian. I think it's like the Canadian schoolgirl punk rocker and all that.
Hmm.
Let's see, who's that? Number 3 would probably be Evil Rose because of her outfit. And yes, I know it's probably like, man, yeah, like I kind of liked Evil Rose, especially like because she was like the mysterious one of the bunch, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, number 4 would probably be Miss Fincher because she goes from a teacher to a dominatrix type character, which I thought was like a interesting little transition, if you will.
Hmm.
And number 5, I would probably say Reiko Hinamoto
And why is that?
because I guess you could say because of how like she was like she felt like one of if not the most prideful fighters, a wrestler, female wrestlers and all that because she was doing I think she was like she was getting into wrestling because of her mother who had I want to say mysteriously fatness or something like that, and she seems like she had like a little bit of like the in her chest, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on the old comments that you used to get where people would say that your name is Mr. Rumble Roses, but yet you don't play much Rumble Roses?
So
And I know you remember those comments because you used to get those back in the day.
yeah, I know. Yeah, like I know that like the whole and that's sometimes like oh like the name could be going into one thing, but like trust me when I say like I would really love to fucking play Rumble Roses somehow, but I don't have the stuff. I don't have the ability and stuff like I used to and everything like that. I tried my ass off to try and get like a PS emulator thing to run that game, and it just would not do it. Like I like trust me, I want to, but I just don't have the ability unless it's somehow they make like a remaster or something of like say the original Rumble Bros PS2 game to PS4, then maybe we'd be in business, but you know.
What's the number one thing that you would say to all the people that gave you bad comments on YouTube back in the day? What's the one thing you'd say to them?
2 words. Fuck and you.
All
Like,
right, and yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, like, I've had some moments where it's like, people, like, just spouting on shit, and it's just like, it just gets like, it's just very stupid and dull these days where it's like, come up with something better.
Because yeah, I remember when you first started using your microphone, and people were like, "Is that your real voice and stuff?" And you used to be very self-conscious about it, but now you've kind of as you've gotten older, you've gotten used to the fact that this is your voice. If you don't like it, fuck off. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to put this on the table right now. Like, I wasn't like fully, if you get my drift, self-conscious. It was mainly because I didn't have a way to talk at the time. Like, I
Hmm.
didn't have a mic of my own because I don't have like the fancy smancy setups that a lot of people may or may not have that they do today, right?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
So it was not that I was like, oh, I'm fully self-conscious about my voice. It was just the fact that I didn't have a way to do it at the time. And I was like, yeah, it was kind of like a little step in a different transition. But I was like, okay, it is what it is. So if people are gonna hate, they can just fuck right off because they're not, they're not good people. So why would I care what they have to say?
In a sarcastic sense, who is the Looney Tune character that I remind you of that you will remind me of the most?
Froghorn Leghorn.
And why do I call you Foghorn Leghorn?
I mean, that's the one thing that was always kind of my mind when you talk about like me being like old Looney Toony and all that.
Because you do that little rambling thing and sometimes you stutter.
Boy, I say, boy, I can't
Yeah,
help it.
yeah.
I, It's like, boy, I can't help it sometimes. It's just when I go off on something, I just stick to it, you know?
And here is your final question. Doesn't matter if it's movie, game, or anything like that. Who was your childhood crush, Rumble?
Childhood crush.
You could even bring up two if you want.
I'm trying to think. Is like I'd say probably like the one thing that kind of came to my mind was definitely Rouge the Bat because it's like it's like knowing the fact that like Sega made a character like that at the time where it's like she got so much kind of moments where it's like they actually changed her up in a certain way, if you know what I'm saying. But
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, like I can't really name a whole lot. I can't really think of a whole lot off the top of my head other than just like Rouge the Bat because of because of how her look was back in the day, and it's like holy.
You got a second one in mind, or just Rouge the Bat?
That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Cause like I would have to like I have to go into the solitary mental state to go like the womb to find out if I had any other ideas.
Fair. And just to shoot back at the people that might listen to this and be like, "Oh, you put Rumble on the spot," I'm going to tell you all two of my childhood crushes just to make things a little even. Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Ooh, good one.
because tits. And then Lara Croft from Tomb Raider.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see the lore. I can definitely see those. Like those are some pretty good ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see.
And because Rumble is usually the one that sends us off, I'm going to send you all off this time. So, I want to let everybody know, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning into this special little segment of the Bald Steel podcast where we got to interview the man behind the Rumble Maniac, Mr. Rumble Roses, because this is his birthday month, you know, and he just keeps getting younger. I don't understand it, man. I think it's just all the chicken that he eats, man. It's the chicken and the Coca-Cola and the tea. That's how you get that fountain of youth right there. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It is crazy. But real talk, though, thank you all so much for all the support that you have given me, all the support that you've given Mr. Rumble Roses. And if you check in the description down below, not only will you see a link to my Twitch channel and socials, you'll see a link to Rumble's as well. And, go give him a follow. Let him know that I sent you. Maybe if you have questions you want to ask him, in terms of like favorite stuff he's had and things like that. Like a little bit of a continuation from this episode. Just go ask. He ain't gonna bite you. He ain't gonna eat you. You're not a chicken. He ain't gonna take a bite out of you. But yeah, as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I am Onyx and he is Rumble, and we both have balls of steel. And until we see each other in the next video, live stream, or podcast, take care, everybody, and we hope you have a good week or weekend.
See you, everybody.